Good morning, guys. It is Thursday, April 9th, and I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough of what's changed in the garden since my last garden tour. Not too much is going on. I've mostly been working on the paths and the layout and getting a few more beds made and mulch down in those, so I am just going to give you a quick little tour and show you what I got going on. And so here we have the walking path. I've gotten it a little bit farther than it was in the last video and a little bit more that way. The chives are coming up and looking really nice. I started working on this rock border. It's doing quite well. Got it stretched all the way around. Really like how that's looking. I had trimmed back the roses and they were doing good, but now I think this one might have died. This one over here is still happy and green, so I'm not sure why the other one decided to die on me, but it did. Or at least I think it did. The tulips are coming up really nicely. And I've got lots of little pansy flowers all over. These are some irises. There was a third one right here, but it's all kind of rotted, so I don't think that's alive. I have lots of little muscari popping up. It's so pretty. I'll probably plant it more in a clump next year, but I just kind of did it in a row this year, so whatever. This space has been redone. I took those blue cinder block planters out and redid it like this. I'm gonna take, there's a bunch of pansies in that area that I need to pull out, so I think I'm just gonna stick one in every rock crack through here, and then this will be an herb planter. Here's some thyme that I moved. It looks dead, but it's not. And then I have moved some stuff that was around the house into here to fill out the edges. Oh, the dogs. They see. They do not like birds flying over, so they are protecting the chickens. Not today. No chicken snacks. But yeah, so these things came from up around the house, and the kids and the dogs just beat them up, so they've come over here. There's spiderwort and phlox and some daylilies that are in different areas. So get him, Max. Get that bird. I got my stepping stones down in the strawberry beds, so the kids really like that. They've been jumping from stone to stone seeing if they can make it. I did start a little bit of the rock path here, and I got the 4 wide down. I'm not sure if I had this done in the last video. I can't remember. Then obviously my little DIY greenhouses that I did, they're definitely staying warmer. We've had a few nights below freezing and there's been ice or a hard frost on everything else, and there hasn't been in there. I do expect everything in those to take longer to germinate than they would if they were in a real greenhouse or just direct sowed outside in the summer, because they're all like warmer weather plants. And the temperature did go back down a little bit. We might even get snow next week. I hope not, but you never know. It's Wisconsin, crazy weather. So yeah, nothing's popped up in those, and I would imagine it'll be a few weeks. I did put this bed together and I planted sweet peas in it, so this is gonna be really nice. My daughter was concerned that she didn't have a way to get out of the strawberry bed, so we added a few more stepping stones there for her. And then I just have a bunch of these little cheap trellises from Home Depot that I put up, which will be for the sweet peas. My rhubarb got moved over to this giant bed, which they were way over there on that walking path last time, and I said I was going to move them because they were in the way. So here they are. There are 5 rhubarb plants here right down the middle, and then I'll plant the edges probably with a mixture of flowers and herbs, because this is a lot of space and the rhubarb doesn't need all of that, obviously. So over here, well, one, if you remember from the last video, this was all blackberries, so we did actually get that cleared out. You can see there's still some that need to be ripped out, but like right here, there's still a few sticking up, but for the most part it's clear. This is a lot of usable space. So I put this bed up and I started filling it with compost. It's just horse manure that's been sitting in that shed for 6 months. So got my compost layer down. Next I'll do topsoil, and then I will mulch it just so no weeds grow. I think I'm going to be planting broccoli and cauliflower in here. My mother-in-law had said she was going to start some for me. We'll see how things go with all the craziness in the world right now, if I get those or not. If I don't, that's fine. I can plant other things in here. If I still get them from her, you know, great. I have a bed prepped and ready to go for that. So over here, I'm still working on getting enough logs to line out these 2 beds, but I figure this one, once it's done, will be for celery and Swiss chard later in the summer. And this one, as soon as I get it done, I can actually plant in here. I figured I would do kale and lettuce in this one. This is the back corner of the garden. It's a little more shady. And then you can see I started bringing some more of the flowers in along, and I need to put more mulch down, but that's a phlox plant. It gets pretty tall and does pink flowers. These are just like the orange ditch lilies, the day lilies. They're everywhere here. So I just brought some in the garden. This is my favorite thing I've moved in. It's called a rattlesnake plantain or rattlesnake orchid. It grows naturally in our woods. I wanted to bring some up here since we're doing a lot of stuff to our woods and I'm not sure if it'll survive. It needs a lot of organic material and shade. So this is the shady spot of the garden, and I brought a lot of the soil that was around it with it. And I'm gonna try and plant some big bushy plants around it to give it even more shade, and hopefully I can keep it alive because it's gorgeous and it will put off really pretty little white flowers if I keep it alive. So the garden is basically all laid out. There's this area right here that I don't have any plans for, and I think I will keep it open right now just because if we expand into this area, I'm not sure how I'm going to do the walking paths in here, and I don't want to plant something and then have to move it. So for now this is open, and hopefully by June we can have this area cleared and fenced in for the expansion. I did get some like bag planters for seed potatoes that I want to try this year, and I think I'm going to just set those on the ground by the greenhouses. I only got 5. I'm not doing a lot of seed potatoes this year because I wanted to test out this bag system and see how it works before I commit to doing a ton of it. So these are the remaining elderberry bushes, trees, whatever you want to call them, after we got all the blackberries out. There were a lot more than I realized, which actually makes me really happy because I do want to transplant these elsewhere eventually. And I can start with all of these little ones, which should be pretty easy to keep alive. And then if the big ones don't make it, it won't be as heartbreaking, but I figure the big ones won't get transplanted this year for sure. If I do them next year, I'll chop them a lot shorter and move them. That big pile back there is all of the blackberries. It looks like not very much, but I promise you, all of this space was 5 feet tall blackberry thorns, and my hands and arms were just scratched to heck, even wearing gloves and long sleeves. I mean, this is almost hip high to me, so it's a lot. And I figure this back corner I will close off, and it will just be like for my garden scraps. So dead plants and the leaves that I'm raking up, and you know, some compost stuff from the house that I just want to throw out here, and just let that be. Maybe one year I'll burn it and then use that corner for planting space, but for now it's the crap pile in the garden. I'm coming back this way. My 2 little blueberry plants are definitely alive, starting to get little buds on them, and my garlic is actually doing really well. I know I mentioned in the last video that I was a little concerned if it was alive or not because a mole had gone under here, and I went back and looked at my garden notebook, and I planted, I think, 92 or 93 cloves of garlic in here, and I just did a quick count on what has sprouted the other day, and there was at least 80 sprouts. So pretty good. Better than I thought for my first year planting garlic. It makes me really happy. These beds are still reserved. I need to put mulch down on them just to keep weeds from going before I plant anything on them. The strawberries are coming along nicely. I need to decide if I want to rake out the leaves or not. I'm not sure if I want to leave all the leaves in there just to, you know, more organic material for the soil, or if I want to rake them out. I think I will try putting some mulch down in here last year, because the strawberries were the worst thing for me to weed last year. So we'll see. These are huge beds, so I don't know, up for debate. Along in here, I have again been bringing in stuff that was along the side of the house that the kids were just gonna squish. I did plant some sweet pea flower seeds through here, so that will be fun if those grow. They're very, very toxic, so all parts of them, so I can't let any of the children or animals eat them, but they're very pretty. Here's more of the thyme, which again, I know it looks dead, but there are wee little flowers on it. I just need to trim all the dead stuff off. Here are my alliums doing really nicely. I think that's how you say it. I never really know. I just make stuff up as I go. But yeah, everything's doing really good. The comfrey is still kind of poking out. I need to trim out this sage because that's just, I took a lot of the leaves off, and there's actually, I have a giant bag of the leaves in the house, but I need to trim back the rest of that, and we'll see if it comes back. My mom said hers did, but we're a little colder where I'm at than she's at. And I have a ton of bee balm that's seeded here from last year, which is going to be awesome because I think it doesn't flower in its first year. I think it flowers in its second year. So hopefully I'll have some pretty bee balm all up in that corner. There's some other stuff in here. This thrift, I don't see any signs of that coming back. This is dianthus. See, I can never remember. So if I get these things, I leave them in, which is obviously still alive. And then I have salvia over there. I had some candy tuft over here that was really pretty, but I'm not sure. I think that's a weed. I don't know. We'll see. I still have no idea if the lavender over here is coming back or not. I kind of dug around in there a little bit, and it had looked like there was some green in there, but it's fine. I'll just leave it for now. And there's more of the muscari. It's so cute. And then all of these are, I want to say violas, as long as I'm not screwing up my flowers. So those will come back and look nice. And yes, the chives are doing great. And these are all like a pink chive. And I bought some white ones this year as well, which I think I'm going to seed in between. So it'll be like pink, white, pink, white, pink. So I think that'll look cool. And then, yeah, that is pretty much it for the garden tour. I meant to make it short, but I talk too much, guys. I can't help it. So I will end that here, and then hopefully the next video I can not talk so much and make it a much shorter garden video. And as always, Max and I would like to thank you for watching. And it's playtime. Oh, here comes Titan. Thanks, guys.